Welcome to Beans Podcast. Got my fam here tonight. Always a great time with the Hodges. Welcome back to the Pubcast, man. You guys were awesome on season 1. This is season 2. It's been a hell of a season. Thank you everyone that been tuning in and vibing to us. You know, we promise we're gonna keep releasing dope episodes every single Friday. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you take a listen when you're driving to work, wherever you're going. If you're in the gym, take a listen. We always dropping gems. They were on the episode 2 last year, Ungrateful People, and then they were also on the Brick by Brick episode, which was one of my favorite episodes. They dropped a lot of gems. I know a lot. I learned a lot personally from that episode. So welcome to the Pubcast, Joe.
Hey y'all.
Alex.
I thought I was never gonna get invited back.
I don't think they
on the do not invite list.
It's only 10 months, you know.
Whole quarantine. We shot that episode was the first week of quarantine, so it's crazy.
So yo, welcome back. You know, big pub regulars. I think Alex. I didn't put him on my VLP list. I was kind of debating back and forth about if he should be on the VLP list. Yes. Ever since I released that list on my Instagram, he's like, every time he comes into the pub, man, he's just been showing that he's coming for the crowd. He's top of the list.
I believe in my heart and soul.
He's living his heart and soul on the dance floor. So we definitely gonna have a good show tonight. It's always good, chopping it up with both of y'all, and I appreciate y'all coming through. Tonight, I decided to make the J Nice. This is my fiance's favorite mix in the pub. We just call it the J Nice. It's a
fiance. Run that back.
That's news for season 2 of the podcast.
Well, I kind of released it season 1, but season 2. My fiance Jamie. This her favorite mix. It's she use it with like a apple, either crown apple or jack apple. But it's a cranberry sweet and sour mix that she loves. It gets her lit. So we're gonna vibe to that tonight. And I wanted to bring you guys on the show because it's a topic that I came across just from scrolling through Instagram, and I was watching a podcast episode, and one of the topics was monogamy. And me about to get married next year, hopefully with like COVID and everything, but monogamy is, I had to really like look into it and like what it actually meant. And I wanted to bring you guys onto it because I was watching the podcast and I saw 2 couples that been married for years. They married with kids, everything, and they were kind of going back and forth because the husband felt like the wife pushed monogamy on him and she wasn't ready for it, meaning she pushed it on him, and then once he was ready to release all this testosterone and just kind of give him her all, she wasn't ready for it, whether it's because of career changes, whether it's because of the kids, like whatever the case may be. So, Joe, I'm gonna ask you, as all ladies always go first. Do you feel like women push monogamy on men?
All right, so the answer is going to kind of sound like a cop-out, but I really do mean this. I feel like society pushes monogamy on women, right? And so in return, so what I mean by that is like, you're raised from like a little girl to like what your husband might want. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So like as you get older, it's like, oh, I can't do this. I can't move this way. I can't, you get what I'm saying? Be talking to like all these people. So you're really trying to like find the one, like you're going through it. Like, for the most part, of course, like, different strokes for different folks. But for the most part, that's kind of how women are brought up. Like, oh, you got to be this wife, And so when they find somebody that they feel like they want to be with, I feel like they think that's the next logical step. I shouldn't say they, me, myself included, is the next logical step. So I feel like, women do push monogamy on men because society pushes monogamy on women. So while it's cool for your son to bring 2, 3, 4 or 5 different girls in the house, it's not cool for your daughter to do that. You get what I'm saying? She got to pick one person, if she's even allowed to bring that one person. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like, it's that pressure of like, if I got to find somebody, so you trying to make that box fit. And sometimes it happens effortlessly, and sometimes we're pushing it on people who are not meant to be monogamous to us in that particular moment, if that makes sense.
Makes sense. I never really thought about it that way. It's hard out here for women for the explanation that you just gave. I can literally when I was single, I used to have 5, 6, 7 girlfriends, you know, and my mom
you didn't ever think you didn't ever think, oh, my wife not gonna want me because I got hella bodies.
Yeah, but for a woman, it's a little different. Like a man don't want a woman with like a
30
whole bunch
bodies.
of bodies
Yeah,
and stuff like that. That's
me?
talking to multiple guys. So
Yeah.
I never really thought about that.
Yeah, you're not really gonna be asking for the most part. Some men are very progressive, so I don't want to put that on everybody. But for the most part, a girl not gonna be like, I'm talking to 8 different niggas, and you like, oh yeah, let me take you to Roof Chris. For the most part, that's not happening.
Right. Gotcha. I know you got a lot to say about.
Man.
I'm gonna ask you this: do you feel like Joe pushed monogamy on you, as far as like the whole, from the sexual to getting married to all that stuff? Do you feel like Joe put pressure and kind of forced monogamy on you?
I'm gonna say in the beginning, definitely not. Like, we both agreed that, you know, we weren't ready for like a committed relationship with one another. Like, we were just gonna take it slow, see where it ends up, just be friends, just chill. And then, you know, me being me, putting on my charm, being who I am, you know. later on down the line, she changed her mind and she gave me a deadline. Yeah. And I was just like, oh shit,
the deadline.
Hold on.
That's pressure. I'm glad you said that.
No. Definitely not saying that it's not pressure. I want to clarify that we were, to my knowledge, monogamous prior to the deadline. Like, we were already exclusive. The deadline was just for you to publicly make me your girlfriend. To my knowledge, we were both already being monogamous at that point.
Yeah.
Like, we're not sleeping with other people.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm just making sure. I mean, it's cool. Disclaimer to like all the viewers and the listeners. At this point, it's been 11 years. So had he said no, it's literally nothing I can do. Right. Like, I'm not about to go home upset. Like, I don't want y'all to think I'm putting any pressure on him to say no right now. I really don't care. It's been a minute.
It's all good. You know, y'all relationship and marriage is strong. So, you know.
Yeah, I'm cool.
Yeah, y'all good.
All I'm saying is, at some point in the relationship, a woman is going to be like, what are we right now? Yeah. What we about to get ready to be? Like, oh, shorty, like, we was just talking, like, can we feel this out? No.
And to Joe's point, it's because of society.
I blame the mothers. I blame the aunts. I blame the friends.
Why do you blame?
Because that's what they
put. That's society though. That's your family. That's your friends. That's the Instagram world. That's everything. You know, that's society. People and that's why women do that. You know, they put that. If they're talking, if you're dating a guy, like, I feel like I haven't really heard a guy say, or I haven't heard none of my friends or anything talk to a girl and be like, give her a deadline, like, hey, we've been dating for 3-4 months. Listen, if you don't publicly make me your boyfriend, then we're breaking up. Or if you don't propose to me, then we're breaking up. Or if you, like, whatever. So I do feel like it's usually the women that put that deadline on the guys.
Yeah, you would think over time, like, things would change, especially, like, you know, with the
women empowerment.
Yeah, with the women empowerment and things like that. Like, I mean, I would think that at some point, like, women would take more control of the narrative and be like, you know what, we don't have to do this. Like, it could be, like, on this level, the same way it is with the guy. The same way it is with the guy.
Hold up.
I feel you.
It is plenty of women in the world whose dream is not to get married. A lot of them. Like, I know a lot of girls who could care less. I know a lot of girls who really are not looking for that right now, or they're focused on their career, they're focused on whatever else, and they're not really looking for that attachment.
Usually the ones that, I'm sorry not to cut you off, but usually the ones that are not looking for it are the ones that probably had, like, trouble in the past, that are not really.
But I'm saying for whatever reason. But I think that, you know, to Alex's point of saying, like, you know, with the women empowerment movement, should it have changed to some accord? And I think that is a woman being empowered. You get what I'm saying? To say, like, I'm putting all of this on the table. What am I getting in return? You get what I'm saying? And if you want me to do certain things for you that are wife things. What's wrong with me saying I also want to be your wife? And so I think that there is an empowerment that comes out of that, because if you weren't empowered, you wouldn't say anything, because you would be afraid that because realistically, whenever you give somebody an ultimatum, you're giving them the opportunity to leave. So that person can literally say, I'm for the streets. Like, they can say that. So you're giving them that opportunity. And I think that if you're not empowered, or you're not sure, or you don't feel like the person is where you are, you're going to really double think if you're going to say that. If I really thought that Alex was going to be like, nah, fuck you, when I was like, yo, let's get, right. I don't think that I would have pushed it in the same way. So I think that there's a difference. I think that that is part of women being empowered, just being able to say, look, this is what I want. You feel me? Like, I see my future going like X, Y, and Z. Is you coming or not? Versus looking at it, like, I feel like y'all looking at it like the woe is me kind of side of it. But there is the side that's like, listen, you either gonna step up or step out.
Yeah, but I feel like that time be coming too soon. Like, the fuck? Like, can I get to know you for a year, maybe a year and a half?
To be somebody's girlfriend?
I mean, people got shit in their closet. People just show, like people interview very well.
To be somebody...
people interview very well.
Alex, how long after me and you was dating?
Listen, let me talk. And then when they get the fucking position, they want to fucking switch shit up. And then they want to be somebody totally different and act totally different. So let's not act like people can not just be this person for one moment and then change later on down the line.
Oh, absolutely. Not saying that. But I'm saying, you said a couple of months. How long have me and you been dating before I told you that I had to be your girlfriend?
I ain't talking about us.
How long?
We talking about in general.
But I'm asking you specifically.
Listen, I'm talking about in 2020.
Okay,
I've been mentoring young men for a while now. Okay, I'm talking about in 2020. These young ladies trying to get wifed up in week 1.
And then they hit the.
All right. I just want to make sure that was, he wasn't out feeling like it was my narrative.
No, I feel him though. I do see, and the great thing is, when I was watching the episode, like the guy he was saying, he was like, you pressured me into being monogamous with you. And then as soon as I became monogamous with you, you switched it up. Your whole sex drive changed. Like, you wasn't really, like, you just did a whole 360 turn. Like, you wasn't prepared for it. You got the position. Like we just said, like, women pushing and push the monogamous on the guy. And then when they get that position where they're the exclusive person, they're the only one they're having sex with, they're the only one they're with every single day, they can't handle it.
And I think that that's fair, and I think that does happen a lot. And I think that a part of it has to do a lot with, are women really prepared for what they saying that they want? You feel me? And so I tell people all the time, like, I don't glorify, like, anybody who knows me will tell you, I don't glorify marriage. This is hard. It's hard work. It's not hard work once a year, on the anniversary, when we put up the post, on birthdays. It's hard work every single day, 365, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And sex is one small, minuscule part of that. It's so many other things that come into play. You get what I'm saying? Where you have to be ready for the long haul. And I think sometimes people think it's gonna be the cute pictures, the matching outfits, the trips. You get what I'm saying? And they're not seeing the 55 arguments it took to get this shirt on. You get what I'm saying? And get us out the house to get to this dinner on time so y'all can see this picture. Like, so it's hard work. I don't think, I think that marriage is a great thing. I'm very happy in my marriage. But I don't want it to come off as though I think this is easy. I think it's effortless in a sense, because it comes that way, because I feel like Alex exudes that. He makes it easy to be his wife in a lot of ways. However, it is very difficult. And so I think that sometimes women are not ready for that. And so they're saying at 21, 22, 20, I'm trying to be married, I'm trying to do this, and you're not thinking like, yo, if you really are believing that marriage is with one person, you're gonna be 40 with this person. So what's up? You get what I'm saying? Like, you gotta understand, this ain't going to the club no more. This ain't hanging out with your friends. This isn't leaving the hangout because your boo called. This is like literally forever. So you gotta, it is hard. That adjustment is hard.
And that brings me to my next question. And me and Jamie, everyone thinks that it's just so, like everybody thinks it's just all peaches and cream, but, being with someone every single day and like being with that person like exclusively every single day and being monogamous with that person, it's a lot of challenges that go into it that people don't see behind closed doors. So I'm gonna ask you, like, what are some of the biggest challenges? And you can answer too after him. But what are some of the biggest challenges of being monogamous or just being with that one person like every single day? What are some of the biggest challenges that y'all go through in y'all marriage with each other?
I mean, I don't know, like, because a relationship is always evolving and into something different. Like, the person isn't always going to be the same person you met at age 19 or whatnot. Like, you get a career, you're making more money, you're doing different things. You're experiencing different things, and like you have new goals and things like that. So it's just like things just change over time. So it's just like being able to maintain and balance the relationship on what's going on in your life. Like, because life is constantly changing and you just gotta constantly adapt to what's going on. So like, it's just being able to notice what my feelings are in the relationship and where she is in the relationship and adapting to what it is. And that's not saying like I'm pushing my feelings to the side. Like, I'm addressing my feelings with her and telling her how I feel about whatever it is that may be going on in our relationship. But that's also internally recognizing what's going on and making a conscious decision on what I'm gonna do and how I'm gonna change things for the better and move on from that situation.
Gotcha. Joe?
I think that Alex put into words what I was gonna say as being selfless. So I think that is the biggest challenge. I think of being monogamous, of being in a long-term relationship. I mean, we've been together for going on 11 years. Going on 12 years. And we've been married going on 6 years. So I think the longevity, you get what I'm saying, of that speaks to having to be selfless at many, many times, and having to realize, like, when is it my turn to step back? When is it his turn to be in the spotlight? How do we do this dance? And I think that, that's pretty much what Alex is speaking to. Like, okay, you get so used to it that you start to notice, like, okay, we're growing. We're in a growing phase. What does this look like? How does this change? And I think that we've hit a lot of those. We've hit a lot of points where things were literally coming upside down on us. And I think that, being selfless is really been my biggest challenge, because I think that it's hard. It's hard to be selfless. So it's something that I'm working at all the time and trying to be more of, when it comes to my spouse. So I would say, that's the biggest challenge.
Gotcha.
It's definitely times I gotta check my ego about a certain thing, and
that's the biggest thing.
Like, you know what? This ain't about me. Like, this about her. Like, it's just crazy. And I mean, of course, of course, with any relationship, like, I know people who gonna, like, I know she's attracted to other men, like the actor, what's the name? The English
don't
actor.
act like you don't know what his name is.
Yeah.
Do not act. Put some respect.
That's
put
her
some respect.
name. See, you see how she acting right now.
Not more than Morris Chestnut, though.
What do y'all do to pretty much resist like the temptation from? Because being with someone 11 years, that's a very long time. Like you said, like, since
on your birthday, it'll be 12.
Yeah, that's a long time. So, like, what do y'all do to keep everything kind of like float, like not get bored with each other, resist like temptation from like other people? Like, what are some of the things that y'all do that people don't might not see, or that people struggle with? That's why they can never get into they can't make it to like that 11, 12 year. So what are some of the things that y'all do to keep y'all monogamous relationship going?
So I think for me, it's a little bit easier. I'm gonna now think society, although I blamed them earlier. It's a little bit easier because it's like, okay, you got this husband, you get what I'm saying, like, don't fuck this up. I think it's respect. all the way around. So it's definitely respect. I think that things get a little bit slippery when people don't respect their spouse. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? And respect their wishes. And I think that, understanding like what's our limit? You get what I'm saying? Like what is acceptable? And that's gonna be different from person to person. I'm not talking about like even a deep thing. I'm talking about like a very simple thing. Like you don't notice whether you and your spouse have a difference on who you should hug until you have that conversation. You get what I'm saying? You grow up in a household and you think how you think is how everybody thinks. You get what I'm saying? So even something simple like that, like just being able to recognize, that you guys are different beings, and what may be harmless to you may not be to him, and respecting that. Like once that's been made a thing, definitely respecting boundaries, and don't put yourself in situations that you don't need to be in. I'm not single, so I don't have any business going out with only single people all the time. I love my single friends. I'm gonna go out with them, but I'm gonna also make sure that they respect my husband. So I'll be like, yo, while we at the club twerking, I can't be the person on the camera. Right. I'm gonna be the person holding the camera, right. But not even because twerking is a bad thing, because I don't want anybody to be able to be like, it's Alex's wife. You feel me? Like. Yeah, like, because everything is appearance. Like, we could have all just been chilling. Yeah. You feel me? And if he's there, it's no biggie, because now he knows what was actually happening. Right. But out of context, anything can look crazy. So I feel like that's important. Tell your friends. And I have very supportive homegirls. You feel me? Who, like, if they ever think something is crazy, they like, oh, wait, I'm right here. Hold up. Yeah. They're the buffer. So I think respect, knowing your circle, knowing who to hang out with, when to hang out with them. Like, it's cool to go out with your single friends, but also make sure that you have married friends, that you have friends in relationships who are going to nourish that in you. And when you are feeling like, oh, I don't know what to do, you feel me? You have someone to go to. Luckily for me, my parents have been married for 33 years, together for 35, so I can kind of always go to my mom and be like, I'm feeling, you get what I'm saying, this kind of way, and she'll be like, oh girl, that's normal. You get what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you'll feel that kind of way, it's cool. So having that support system around you that understands what the goal is, I think is the number one way that you resist temptation, because it's gonna come. You feel me? Like, you're gonna see people. You're a human being. You're gonna see people. People are going to be attractive. You're going to. You get what I'm saying? That's going to happen. So it's about knowing that I don't care how attractive he is. I know he's not a better husband than Alex. Yeah. That's it for me.
Jeez.
I don't condone the shit.
You don't condone what?
How do you resist temptation?
I don't condone.
You don't condone temptation, or me?
I don't condone temptation.
Okay.
I don't care who it is. I just like I feel like I've seen enough people go through enough shit, and to analyze the situation, like the grass is not green on the other side. Like it's just not. Like people think it is, and they jump out there and they do wild stuff while they still with their significant other, but like then they come back around and then like it's not worth it.
Do you think people do these things because they are bored with being with just one person?
I think that some people just never got through finding themselves and understanding what it is that they really want in life, and they just settled. And so because they settled, now they're in a place where they're like, damn, I wish I did X, Y, and Z. But you're not in that situation no more. I mean, you could easily bow out the situation, but a lot of people like to have their cake and eat it too. So, like, just be honest with yourself. And
so you're saying it was beneficial to go through a whole phase for you? That's what you're
saying. I'm saying it's beneficial.
In tandem.
I'm not saying the whole phase. I'm saying it's beneficial for people to find themselves, date around, because you might have dated one or two people, and then like just because that second person or that first person or that third person you come up with that don't mean she the one or he the one. Like, I would rather people date what around. I said. I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying like I mean, if you want to call it a whole phase, call it a whole phase, but I feel like that people literally, especially if you're younger, like, you don't need to really take a relationship serious until you get in like at least your 20s. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. That's just personally how I think, because honestly, it's just so much out here in this world that you, as a young person, you haven't experienced yet. And then like as you get older, you start to experience this shit. You won't have regrets and shit like that. Yeah. Like you don't want to be able to like have these regrets and want to then jump out there and thinking it's like gonna be great, and then it's like really not. Like what you have at home was great, and that's what you need to make sure you take care of. Like some people just don't believe in taking care of home. Some people believe in just running out in the streets doing them, and then home will be there, thinking home will always be there. And
when you say some people, right? Because I feel like every time you said some people, I just kept hearing some men for some reason. Because I feel like men struggle with monogamy more than women. I truly feel that way.
I don't know if just probably haven't met enough women.
Yeah, older women. So I think that happens. No, I think that is flipped. I think that it happens in your age group. I think that yes, it is men. Yeah. I think if we brought some people in here who was in their 40s, 50s, I think that it's women because now they're bored. So now they're thinking back to, damn, I really only got with one person. I really only got this one experience. I really only did this, and now they with their homegirls who's, you get what I'm saying? So I think that does shift. I think that culturally there is a shift, and that happens for women later because I think that they spend the whole beginning. Most women spend the whole beginning of their relationship doing the next thing. So okay, now we're married. Oh my God, let's have children. Okay, now we have children. Oh my God, our kids are doing all of this stuff. Boom, 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 boom. We're raising kids. So every excuse, everything that's not happening is we're raising kids. And then it's like, oh, now the kids are not here anymore. And I don't even really like you no more. Like I don't even really know what's up. Right. So I think that that's why it happens a little bit later for women. So I do. I
don't
think,
get me wrong.
I agree with you.
There's a lot of women out there that I know for a fact struggle with monogamy. That be having boyfriends, having husbands or whatever, and be out here acting wild. So it's just, I feel like the men always are the ones that are targeted the most as like cheaters and stepping out.
Because they get caught.
That's because they get caught. That's what I'm trying to say, yo. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Like I feel like even if you look at the Cardi B situation with like that whole situation with what was it, Offset with Offset, he's labeled, he's known as a cheater. He's known as a cheater, he and I feel like we don't know what Cardi B could have possibly been doing. Like I'm not saying she was doing anything, but I feel like women are always kind of like the victim of a man cheating on them.
I mean, and we know of a male, we talked about the Jada Smith situation.
But I feel like that situation was kind of blown. No. I feel like a lot of people were kind of, as soon as we start talking about it, people were like, oh, well, they're not together. They wasn't together.
No. I feel you. And I mean, maybe Offset and Cardi would say the same thing, but what I'm saying is that, yes, I think that it's harder for society to cope with it. You know why? Because being able to keep that one girl at home, it speaks to your manhood. Right? So I think that when we admire someone like Will Smith, if we say that she cheated on him openly, we're saying that we think he's less of a man just based on society. It don't mean nothing. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? She felt neglected or bored, or you get what I'm saying? Whatever, the same way a guy probably did. But we associated with manhood and womanhood if they could keep them. The same thing with Offset. You get what I'm saying? Like people were like, oh, but she got the WAP. I guess that. You get what I'm saying? She don't cook, she don't clean, but let me tell y'all, she got this. You get what like people were saying that. So I think that whenever someone gets cheated on, they automatically look to the person who got cheated on, and it's like the problem is them. When in reality, the problem is the cheater. The problem's always the cheater. Because if you weren't happy, if you weren't satisfied, and been out, you can always be out. There's always an out. Like, you get what I'm saying? There's always a conversation to be had. There's always an out. But in society, regardless of whether the cheater's a woman or a man, but a lot when it's a man, at first we're like, oh, it's okay. But then we are like, oh, well, she wasn't doing this. Oh, well, yeah, she well, lately, she had been gaining that weight. And, she always had an attitude when we was around. Like, it's not her fault. Like, it's not, the person who gets cheated on, it's never their fault. Like, unless the person openly set you down, communicated with you, and you was like, we still gonna be together regardless. Yeah. I don't care what you're saying, then you're just a little crazy. But for the most part, it's never the person who got cheated on's fault. And we always look to them to be like, what didn't you do?
I could definitely attest to that. I feel like men, we just naturally have like this dog, like stereotype, like this dog. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about like men. Like I feel like men get bored with women faster than women get bored with men. I don't know.
Because women are afraid to embrace their own sexualities, and they keep letting y'all think that what they're giving y'all is the best thing that you've ever had. So if you don't start embracing your own sexuality and being okay with needing it, wanting it, being the aggressor, being the person going after it, then yeah, of course, you're gonna be fine being bored, because you're not the person sitting down trying to, you get what I'm saying? Like, you're living your sex life trying to satisfy somebody else. And I'm gonna tell y'all right this second, you better start satisfying yourself. Like, you better start figuring out what works for you. You better start learning your body. You better start learning your needs, and you better start communicating those. So if you're a woman who's not really communicating those, you'd be surprised how many women have never had an orgasm. Like, it's so common. Although I would be hard pressed to find a guy who's been having sex for 10, 20 years and has never nutted. Like, I'd be hard pressed. You get what I'm saying? It's really women out here having sex 10, 20 years with a nigga never had an orgasm.
I know I've heard this before. Like, some women, that don't have those orgasms, they get off by pleasing the man.
Yeah, I think that's easy to say. If you've never had an orgasm, you don't know what you're missing. It's like somebody who never been drunk telling you that being drunk ain't cool. Like, you don't know. Like, you get what I'm saying? You've never been to a place I've been to and you gonna tell me it's whack. You don't know if it's whack. Yeah. So yeah, guys, as human beings, like, we want to cope with what's happening to us. Like, that's the mental health therapist in me. That's that free game, right? We want to cope with what's going on. So what do we tell ourselves? Like, oh, I'm not getting off, but I get off pleasing him, or I get off doing this and doing that. Yeah, that's gonna get old real quick. Yeah. So I feel like it's important. I think that's where it comes into. I think that women are bred to believe that they're supposed to accept whatever it is that it is. You feel me?
Mm-hmm. But if that's your thing. Like,
yeah,
go forward, do it.
In combination, I think everything is a balance. You know, in combination with.
As a man, right? Mm-hmm. I've struggled with monogamy for a lot of years. Mm-hmm. A long time. Mm-hmm. I've struggled, you know, and I think that a lot of times I got bored, you know, just being one person, you know, no matter what the situation was, like, I would get bored, and I would always try to look for the next thing out there. Like, all right, done with her, about to go to the next thing.
Because you and the person you was dating wasn't on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
If y'all on the same wavelength, then she is the next thing.
Yeah, I mean, now I've found my peace. I would say that I have found my peace, and I think my next question is, you know, y'all both been married for 5+ years, right? And to the people that struggle with monogamy now, struggle with being with that one person and just giving that one person your all, whether sexually, physically, mentally, like everything. Like, how is that done? Like, how are you able to be attractive to one person for 5+ years?
I mean, I think you gotta, like, as a man, like, you gotta realize, like, being with a woman isn't always just about sex, for real. Like I want to say, like, when I met Johansi, like, I've dated women or whatever the case may be, like it just, like, you, like, I felt like, all right, all the physical attraction, cool. Like, I'm physically attracted to her. We had sex or whatever the case may be. That, man, we cool.
But didn't have sex until we were married. I don't know what he's talking I'm just kidding.
But I feel like it goes like, it's a little deeper, like, when you are able to have, like, deep conversations with somebody about life in general, about politics, about, you know, about the social, having a great social life and things of that nature. Like, it's just like, when somebody, like, go from, like, just not from just sparking your body, but then sparking your mind, like, that's, like, taking it to a different level, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like being probably on an ecstasy pill. I'm not saying I took ecstasy, just saying.
So
like,
he's just on that high, right? But some people don't experience that,
right? It's because some people.
I feel like some people don't let themselves experience that though either.
So I think that people come into situations. I think what you're speaking to is, like, people come into situations with certain barriers, right? And certain things that have, happened to them in the past. And I think that, that's normal. That's human nature. I think that the deepest thing is, like, I have read this quote one time, like, really, like, loving someone is giving them the opportunity to break your heart and trusting that they're not going to break it.
Being vulnerable.
Right. And vulnerability is tough.
That is hard to do.
And vulnerability is even tougher if we've never seen it. We've never heard about it. We've never experienced it.
I feel like a lot of women struggle with being vulnerable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because women, especially
they
black
give their
women,
heart to anybody. Any
sometimes, yeah.
And then it'd be the same dude that went out and cheated or whatever.
Sometimes, sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's the things that we watched. That some women watched growing up. I think that it's a lot. I think that it is multifaceted. But yeah, I think that sometimes part of putting up that wall is that you had it down at some point and it didn't work out for you. You get what I'm saying? And so now you're kind of like, oh, I'm not going to let nobody pass this level. The issue is that, in conversation, in really speaking to someone's mind, you don't have to be vulnerable. You feel me? Like, I feel like in the beginning, you're literally just getting to know the person. And people overlook that. Like, they overlook that part of dating is legitimately getting to know someone. So not getting to know someone in bed, but literally, like, how old were you when you learned to ride a bike? Do you ride a bike? You know what I'm saying? Have you been out the country? Do you have a passport? Do you speak any other languages? What's your favorite food? Have you tried sushi? Like, literally things like that. So I feel like we started getting to other wavelengths with very simple things.
And
you get what I'm saying?
And then being yourself. Like,
yeah.
If I can't be myself around you,
yeah,
like, and I gotta hide who I really am, and I'm only being myself around my friends, then I'm not gonna be with you. I'm just gonna cut this shit out.
Yeah,
like I'm sorry.
And that is gonna get boring really quick because you gotta put on a mask every time. But I think that it starts with vulnerability. Starts with those simple things. You get what I'm saying? That taking it to the next level starts with building those very simple experiences. And
I just want to go back and say that I feel like that's what happened with Ghost. What I just said.
With him and
Tasha.
Bro.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this with y'all tonight.
But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there.
Bro, I feel you. I feel you 100%.
These drinks got me hot every time.
That's we gonna wrap. I feel you 100%. I do feel like Ghost could not be himself around Tasha. He could be himself around Angela. I would have left Tasha too, 100%. I would have cheated on Tasha, 100%. So, but that's another conversation.
Another episode.
You feel me? I feel the same way, and I still to this day feel the same way about that.
Absolutely.
So, and I feel like a lot of people that I know personally, like a lot of my frat brothers, a lot of my close friends, a lot of people that I know that are single, that struggle with monogamy. Like, I really understand how they feel. I understand the fact that, like, you might like this girl, but you don't see it. You always gonna find you feel like you're gonna find something wrong because you're not ready yourself.
Absolutely.
2, you can't really be yourself around this woman. You don't know if you want to bring this woman around, your friends. Like, and it kind of go back to the Circles episode that was released, where it's like you can't bring your queen around your friends. Like, how are you gonna, be with that person for the rest of your life?
And vice versa. Women sometimes feel they want to bring the guy to everything with them. You get what I'm saying? And they're afraid to be in that life. Like, they're afraid to, come around the friends and, call the friends and be cool with them and be in that mix. And before I'm anything, I'm Alex's friend. Period. Point blank. Like, that's my best friend. Period. So we can stay up till 3 a.m. gossiping about all of y'all. You feel me?
Yeah.
We be up on, like, it's literally, I think that's what people miss. And I think it starts very early in the relationship. Where, like, you'll see girls who could care less about making a plate, wanting to make a plate, because all they friends' wives do that. You get what I'm saying? You see people who could care less about, like, trying to be something that they think is going to get them wife.
Right.
And it's sad because you can't keep that shit up.
Yo, the great thing.
You can't.
I was really about to tap into that. Like, that was really, like, going through my mind. Like, I feel like people like I'm gonna target women. Fuck it. I feel like a lot of women these days put on this front that
1,000%.
They put on this front, like you said it in the beginning of the show, like they put on this front of who they try to be someone, but deep down inside, like we see right through them, like we know for a fact they're not that person, and then it's always gonna be that one person that gets that girl and then wife them, and they falls for that front that got put on. Now they're in a monogamous relationship, and now she flips the switch and boom.
For some people, it was too late when they had that kid.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And that's why we see a lot of, everyone knows how I feel about, single mothers, And I do feel like that's why we do see a lot of maybe like single mothers in this world, because a lot of times it do be the men. It be the men that might have got that woman pregnant, and might have fell for all the tricks and everything in the bedroom, and fell for everything that's kind of going on, and then that woman might have switched, and now that guy's out there, he's struggling with being monogamous. Now he's out there,
and vice versa.
He's
some
cheating,
guys play
and
the
vice
game
versa,
too.
and vice versa. So I think that's what I see that a lot, in the world. I don't know what it is. Like I said, I was born in this world. I didn't make it. I don't know what it is, why people struggle so much, and the only thing I can really think of is that people put on these fronts, like whether it's for social media, whether it's for their friends to impress their friends, like people put on these fronts, like they go through the interview.
Like I feel like dudes feel like they gotta have the most bodies in their out of their friends, or they just gotta have hella bodies. Like you don't gotta have hella bodies. Like you just gotta be you. Like if you into the chick, you just be into the chick. Like that's cool, but you ain't gotta smash everything walking, dude. Like just to be, you know what I'm saying? Just to be a part of the clique. Like you had sex before, you ain't a virgin. You had sex before, that's cool. Like fuck it. You ain't gotta be the dude that be like, yo, I know he getting all the bitches. Like, yo, everybody get all the bitches. It's just a matter of how, like, when
what
they
bitches?
get
Some of these bitches don't be quality. We gonna start counting y'all quality bodies too. Cause y'all really be out here hitting anything for a number count. That's a different episode. That's a different episode though.
That's gonna be an all guys episode, I feel like. But
that's cool because I'm a crash it.
Just remember who brought it to the podcast first. Just remember I brought it in.
But I would before I lose my train of thought, I'm so sorry, right? I just want to get this out. On the flip side too, like people gotta stop wanting somebody else's relationship. Yours ain't never gonna work. Like if that's what you want somebody else's relationship, that's not gonna work. Anybody, like things happen sometimes, like people could be together and they don't even notice what they're doing for each other because that's just what's happening, right? And then somebody else will be like, oh, but y'all always do this. Like, how do y'all do that? I don't fucking know. Like, we just do it. You get what I'm saying? Like, we just literally do. Like, we don't know. So, like, I came down here, and Keenan will be your witness. Like, I was not a football person. Like, my family just didn't really watch a lot of football. Like basketball, baseball, cool. I mean, we had Super Bowl parties, whatever, but never like big, avid, someone in front of the screen every Sunday. But Alex is arguably one of the biggest Ravens fans in the world. Like, win, lose, draw, he don't give a fuck. They could literally be scoring 3 points a game. He's riding or dying for the Ravens. And, that was one of those things where I tell people, like, it wasn't even being fake. Like, I would really sit down, ask questions, get with it. You get what I'm saying? Start really, okay, you like this. All right, let's go to a game. You feel me? Like, I'm going to learn about this. My sister's
the same way.
And I'm literally, like, now it's like, people asking me questions like, "Oh, what just happened?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, this and this just happened."
That's
like,
dope, though. That's definitely dope. Like,
and it's organic though. You can't push that.
Yeah.
So Alex was never like, "Yo, you about to be a Ravens fan." Like that never happened. Like, my family wasn't big on football. Like, I grew up a Jets fan, but like I said, my dad wasn't an avid football watcher, so it wasn't hard. So my transition wasn't hard. Had I grown up with a dad who was like a go hard Jets Cowboys fan or go hard Jets fan that was in front of the screen every Sunday, it probably would have been harder. But the transition wasn't that hard because it was like, oh yeah, maybe we went to a Jets game. We watched a couple of years, but it was cool.
Right.
So I think that's a big, even that little simple thing, you get what I'm saying? Like, people will see that and they think that he told me to do that. You get what I'm saying? Or they think that like I wanted to like football. Like, no, it just organically happened. Because if I want to spend time with him while the Ravens are playing, I have to watch the Ravens game. Yeah. So, and sometimes people want to compete. This is your life. And now I'm like, no, we're going to go out every Sunday. And that's going to, no, like he going to get annoyed because what he really want to do. And then you mad because he at the restaurant watching the game. And you mad, like,
so you might as well
just watch the game. Get some wings.
That's what I be telling Jamie. Yo, I know we suck, but goddamn, like, if I'm gonna be hurt, you might as well be hurting with me too. You feel me? Like, ain't no point of us.
Like, she might as well have your shot, your drinks ready.
Right, you might as well have it right. We might as well take them together.
We
might as well take them together. Like, you feel me? Like, I feel this. That's how I feel, like, and that's dope. And I feel like that. Like my sister was the same way. Like my sister didn't really watch sports. Like kind of like growing like our whole childhood. Then when she got married and everything, and then now she's like a big Ravens fan because her husband's a Ravens fan. Yeah. So I feel like that's huge as far as being monogamous. And the thing about that is, I feel like that is so dope in like a relationship. Like I told Jane, I was like, yo, like I love to see couples cheering for the same team. I love to see that. So it's like it's one of those things where I know it probably wasn't forced upon, but it's one of those things where y'all are so monogamous. Like y'all are literally together. Y'all so in tune that y'all are going on one accord. It's like
literally impossible. Like for me to sit down, like how I'm gonna hate LeBron when LeBron's biggest fan, right? Like literally he's upset. Like the Ravens lose a game, he's heartbroken.
I know the feeling.
Heart is out of his chest. So how I'm gonna be happy? Like how I'm gonna be happy? Yeah. Like if that's really how I'm gonna be happy? Like when everybody talking shit about his favorite basketball player, how I'm gonna be okay with that? Like if this is not, you get what I'm saying? Like this is somebody who I truly care about. And I could root for another team and still feel for him and be like, nah, you get what I'm saying? But that just hasn't happened. Right. For us, like now I am a New Yorker, so I'm a Knicks fan. I don't care, but I'm a LeBron fan above all. I think it helps that there is no team in Washington, so we get to travel with LeBron, and so that works out.
We're in
us.
LA now. I think we're going.
That's right.
I think we're going to retire.
Shout out to the Lakers. Shout out to the Lakers when you got the chip.
But but to go back to what you were saying, like as far as like I think couples just gotta find their own identity. Like you gotta understand what y'all are as a couple. Like, are you the couple that always go to church? Are you the couple that always go to vacation? Are you
like working out together?
Like you gotta find your niche.
You just want to get lit every time. Like,
exactly. Like
you just gotta find that thing you got in common.
Like I can't come and look at your relationship and try to reciprocate that because it's not organic. It's not natural. Like you gotta figure out what is organic and natural for y'all. And then and then people fuck up and be doing the same shit they did in the last relationship, expecting expecting different results.
No growth.
Right, it's no growth. Like you can't be like I can have an ex-girl or ex-wife and do the same shit I was doing with them and expecting something different with my new girl or whatever the case may be. Like you gotta be able to switch it up. You gotta try something different because clearly something didn't work in those relationships what you was doing.
And the fact that you said that, right? What about the people that want monogamy so bad? They want it so bad that they will literally do anything, whether that's making a fool of themselves, talking to another man or someone that's married or someone that's in a relationship, kind of throwing themselves out there when they know they should not be doing that. They deserve better. They're messing with men that not treating them right. Like what about those
They
people?
gotta find themselves. They gotta find some self-love and self-respect. Because if you're doing something like that, like you really don't love yourself, let alone want somebody else to love you. Like, come on, yo. Like, you really don't do it.
And they get taken advantage of.
Right, you're getting taken advantage of yourself because just because you want to be in a relationship with somebody you think is attractive or whatever the case may be, like, you rather get talked to like a dog on the street just to have somebody on your arm versus just having somebody that's going to respect and love who you are as a person. Like, it's just not going to work. It never works.
I feel like people do this as well. I feel like people put a timeline on their lives. You feel me? And they be like,
absolutely.
And, they put this timeline on their life where they're like, I'm going to be married. I'm going to have kids. I'm going to be settled down by this age, blah, 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 blah. Right? Yeah. So now they're kind of... they're forcing it, they're forcing it. Like every person that they talk to, they're like, all right, look, what are we doing? You gonna propose to me or what? like everybody, and I feel like a lot of people do that, where that clock start ticking, they start getting 28, 29, now you're 30, 31, 32. Next thing you know, you're like 35. Nobody really want to be like in their 40s and 50 and alone. So if people start settling, now you're scrambling. Oh, all right. All my friends, I'm going to all these baby showers. I'm going to all these weddings. I'm going to all these gender reveals, these bridal showers. I'm going through all this stuff, and I'm single. Do you feel like people start settling at that point when they get to that? I know for a fact that used to tear me up inside. If I come around, if you're constantly hanging around people that are in monogamous relationship, it's just them, they're exclusive, whether they're married, whether they're engaged, whether they're a couple. Dating, yeah. If you're constantly keep coming around and you're the only single person, I know for a fact it could.
What? I never thought about that, because the simple fact was, during the time frame in my life when I was single, like, I just like having my own peace. Yeah. Because when you with somebody else, you got all that baggage and shit like that you got to deal with.
But at a certain point, I feel like at some point, like, it does hit you.
You were younger too, though, so I think that for in some aspects, that conversation is a little bit harder for us to have, because I've only dated one person in my adult life.
Right.
So I had boyfriends before Alex, but I was literally a child. Mm-hmm. So like I was 19 when we got together. Yeah. Like Alex was 24. So I feel like we were the first kind of in our friend group to become, you get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like not the first, but of course like one of the first, like in the first wave. Yeah. So I don't really think that I got to feel what that felt like. Other than to be like 16 and all my friends got a date to the movies and you get what I'm saying? I'm just coming. Like I don't really have that adult thing, and so I don't like to, too much to speak on things that I didn't personally experience, because now it comes from like a bragging place. You get what I'm saying? Like, and I'm really not trying to brag. Like, it just happened that way for me. And so I think that it's a little bit easier for us to say like, oh, why are you not just single? Yeah. Being single at 19, way easier than being single at 29. You feel me? At 19, I'm like, I got the world in front of me. I don't care. I'm at the club. Yeah. But at 29, I'm kind of like, damn, am I going to have kids? Am I not going to have kids? You get what I'm saying? So I think that it is a little bit different. And I feel you. I think that it is peer pressure. And I think that that's where knowing yourself and what your goal is important. Sometimes people look at marriage as the end, right? Mm-hmm. And you hear so many people talk about it that way. I'm not ready for that type of commitment. I'm not ready for my life as I know it to end, or whatever the case may be. And marriage is literally just the beginning.
Mm-hmm. People would rather have a child
than get married. People tell us that all the time.
Mind you, like being married,
it's easy. Yeah. Like if we get divorced right now, because we don't have any children, for those of you who don't know, if we get divorced right now, it's going to be a way cleaner cut than if people who have kids break up.
I can definitely attest to that. I think, having a child, it's definitely a lot. It's a lot more complicated. It's a lot harder. You're adding another human being that's physically, mentally, emotionally growing every single day into your lives. So if God forbid me and Jamie was to break up, I can't just sign this paper, I go my separate way, you go your separate way. We got the baby. It's like I can't do that. So I think that's really ironic, like how people really will rather have a child than to be married.
It's a much cleaner cut, and I think that part of what perplexes people about us so much is that we've been together this long with no children.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. We're 31 and 35. We've been together 12 years, and there's nothing tying us here. It's literally, I want to wake up next to you every single day. Mm-hmm. And I'll do that every single day if I never get to be the parent of your children, or if we get to have 10 children. I'll do it every day. Like, with no hesitation. And I think that, there's a lot. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard because it's nothing there. Yeah. It's nothing there. We could sell a house.
But y'all do plan on bringing me like a niece or something like that.
It's not in our plans not be parents. I say that. So okay. I think that we do. I think we do want to be parents. I think that's safe. I think that's safe enough to say, right? That's safe. I think we want to be parents. But I think that we made a very conscious decision because we did get married pretty young. I was 25. And Alex was gonna be 30. He was 29. So I think that we made a very conscious decision that we had goals. and we had a couple of things that we wanted to do and that we didn't quite feel ready. And I know that you don't ever necessarily feel ready, so I'm not saying like, oh, there's like this checklist, but I think we made that conscious decision, like, you know, we're pretty young, we still want to do certain things or have the freedom really to do certain things on our own accord.
Yeah, and then it just turns into a different level. It's like, yeah, you're my girlfriend, but now you're my wife, so now I gotta see what this looks like and how we gonna grow into these positions, you know, in life, and get to know each other and love each other in that situation. Because I didn't really want to just jump in there and just have a baby out the break for the simple fact that we said I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, because some people get married every day, but they don't really know.
Don't last.
Yeah.
It don't last. I've seen a lot of marriages not last. And I think that kind of scarred me a lot, you know, just physically seeing people that I knew would be, you know, together forever and then not last. But I know you mentioned in the beginning of the episode, like some of the challenges that kind of go through, and some of the challenges that you said were life kind of happens. You know, you got career goals, you got, you know, people, you know, you might get your degree, you might have little minor setbacks and everything. So those are some of the challenges that kind of go through it, right? I've seen kind of like marriages and stuff like kind of like not work out because of goals that y'all might have in mind together that it don't happen, whether that's, you know, whether that's having kids together, whether that's, you know, getting a house together, whatever the case may be, whether it's financially, whether it's physically, whatever. I've seen marriages not last because of those situations, you know, where you guys come to an agreement, you're like, okay, I want to do this by XYZ, or these are my goals, and I feel like that's why a lot of like monogamous relationships don't last, because the partners are kind of not on the same page.
Y'all not talking.
Yeah,
talk. Literally, before y'all even get together, do you think the conversation about how far into our marriage we want to have kids happened after we got married? No, that conversation happened. We weren't even engaged yet. You get what I'm saying? Yo, I got, you know, I'm thinking, around what age are you thinking you want to have kids at? I had around what age am I? You get what I'm saying? And not even like a push on this, but just to get a gauge, right? Because how unrealistic would it have been if Alex's goal was to have a kid in our first year of marriage and my goal was to have a kid after 30? You get what I'm saying? Like, how off would we have been in that had we never had that conversation? How much harder? That's harder, because the first year of marriage is hell on rocks, but that's a different podcast. But how different would that, you get what I'm saying, have been? So I feel like really talk to your significant other and figure out what y'all goals are together. Stop, I beg y'all, stop taking other people's goals. Stop taking what y'all see other people do and think that y'all can do it, or want that, or make that your goal. Really do things because you want them to happen. It will happen so much more effortlessly. It will be so much easier to get by, I think, in my opinion.
Final question. The fact that y'all are both, you know, seems happy and in a monogamous relationship and thriving and going into your 12th year and everything, what about the couples or the monogamous, or supposed to be monogamous couples that really cannot do that, so they end up being swingers, end up having like open relationships? It's mind blowing to me that people really do that. I can never understand it. It's a lifestyle that I don't understand. But have you guys ever thought about like that lifestyle, or would you ever? What are your thoughts on that lifestyle, like in general? Like,
everybody got a different taste. You know what I'm saying, in life. So like, what's for us ain't always gonna be for the next couple. Like, people like different things. Like, that's why there's so many different things available in the world. Like, so I can't judge or say, you know, what's for them or what's not for them, or what's for me and what's not for me. If you like to go and you like to swing,
That's your problem.
That's
swing.
Go ahead and swing for the fucking fence. Have a fucking ball, I'm just gonna say have protection because you don't want to get somebody else's wife pregnant or something like that. Like,
I am absolutely way too jealous. I don't even like when women like look at Alex for too long. Like I think everybody wants my man all the time. I literally think he's amazing, and I'm like kind of like, why wouldn't you want him? And so I could never like I couldn't. But I think that people try to make things fit because again, the societal pressure to make it work is that much. You get what I'm saying? Like now you're in it, now you got to make it work. So let's find a way that makes it work for us. And kind of the way to do that is, let's do something different. Yeah. But if you become that person, if you have those open conversations about what you like sexually, prior to, you talk about what the expectation of sex is, how often, literally, if you're about to get married, if you're engaged, if you're thinking about getting married, have those conversations. How often do you think we're supposed to be having sex? What does sex actually look like for you? How do we communicate when we want sex? How do we communicate when we don't want sex without hurting each other's feelings? Have those conversations, because if you can't have a conversation about sex with the person you're having sex with, I wanted to use another word so bad. Who you gonna have it with? Who you gonna have it with? So really have those conversations, because people's expectations sometimes is crazy. Like some people think like, oh, we married, we have to have sex every day. Like some people's expectations is just ridiculous. That's not, and that if that's what works for you, cool. That's not what works for me. But I gotta have that conversation.
If a couple start having sex every day and then one person is like one day like, maybe not trying to do sex like that, then it's like, what the fuck do we mean? Like we have no conversation, but this been a physical agreement. Like we've been fucking every single day. Like what you doing?
Right.
And so be careful what expectations you put out there for yourself. You feel me?
These are my expectations.
But also be careful of what you do without even saying. You feel me? What are those things that you're putting out there? You feel me? How often are you setting the table and making sure dinner's ready before he comes in? And if you're doing that everybody say if you do something 21 days in a row, it's a habit. Yeah. Right? So on that 22nd day, you don't have that food out there, he taking that personal. And you would take it personal too. If he getting you, you get what I'm saying, do something every single time and he stopped doing it, you're going to take it personal. So that's why I think it's important not to set unrealistic expectations for yourself. Women, I know that it's easy to fall into this trap of wanting to be the sexiest, hottest, freakiest girl in the world. And the reality is, definitely be freaky with your spouse. Definitely be freaky with your spouse. Definitely be open with your spouse. Definitely be open to try new things. And things of that nature. But also also make sure that you're being true to yourself and what you're okay with. Because bodies change, people change. So you want to make sure that you're real with that. And like girls, like I really do beg y'all ladies, like stop doing what y'all think is gonna take to be a husband. Like to get a husband. So them 90-day rules, like literally I want everybody to take a piece of paper, crumble them bitches up. If somebody's gonna wife you, they're gonna wife you if you fuck them in 5 minutes or 5 years. Exactly. You exude what it is to be a wife. You exude what it is to be a wife to your husband. So sometimes them pieces is not gonna hit with certain people, and that's cool. And I'm not saying just go around fucking everybody either, but what I'm saying is literally all your expectations, all these little check marks that you think you gotta hit, life don't work that way. So be open, be willing, crumble up the list of how he's supposed to look too, crumble up all that shit. Walk into situations with an open heart, and just be really ready, able and willing to grow, because people change. So if you're falling in love with somebody's physique, what he can do for you, what he can provide, that can all change. You get what I'm saying? Exactly. He could lose his job, he could lose his money, he could lose his figure. All of that can change. So who is it that you truly want at the end of the day? And so crumble up them fucking list of how people look and make that shit a list of how people feel, how people make you feel, how you're looking to feel for the rest of your life. Because that is the hard part.
That person
you feel
at
me?
20
don't let people
at 40.
Don't let people push you into what you think you're supposed to be doing, because I'm trying to tell y'all, it's people out here. I'm married. I know a lot of married people. It's people out here that really was doing the bare minimum and still a wife. So it's okay, sister. It's okay. Don't make him feel no type of way, and also make him act like a husband too, sis. Make him act like a husband too. So if you want somebody to take out the trash every day, don't marry him unless he take it out every day. Make him act like a husband, straight like that.
Yeah.
Boom.
She better fucking have that dinner on the fucking table.
You feel me?
Trash on.
If you want the 1950s things, you feel me? I mean, it's a different conversation for a different day, but if you really want to be taken care of in that way, then you need to be doing the shit that women in the 50s was doing. And since that ain't me, I'd rather go work.
If you want to be treated a certain way, you gotta treat the person a certain way. So if if you want the glitz and the glamour, then I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna expect that back, in the same token, the same breath.
I agree. Well, there you have it. I appreciate. Golly, y'all feel like every time y'all come, y'all just drop a bunch of gems. Boom, I'm in the pub and then leave. You feel me? Like that's I appreciate y'all, man. Like it's always good chopping it up and just kind of.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Thank y'all for coming, man. It's always good chopping it up and learning about how y'all are able to keep thriving, 11, 12, hopefully you get to that 30 plus year marriage, like your parents. So everyone that's out there, I know being monogamous with one person is very, very challenging. It's a challenge every single day. It's something that you have to be ready for. You have to prepare yourself, do a lot of personal growth, a lot of internal developing to be able to be with one person for the rest of your every single day life. That is very, very challenging. So definitely, I hope everyone enjoyed this episode and you were able to learn a lot from the Hodges of how they are able to be monogamy with each other every single day. So we'll be at the pub. We'll be doing talking to the next drink. Pub talk.